Get out of Taipei for a bit with Voice of South Taiwan. Each week, join us in discovering the best that the southern side of the country has to offer. You'll uncover a part of Taiwan that you never knew you needed to know. In a Kaohsiung cafe, we meet Hebi, his wife April, and their friend Tenti Tiang. Hebi sports a t-shirt with a caption that is definitely not Mandarin.
水啊，好啊，咱台湾。
What does it mean?
That's Suya. It means great, good,
Beautiful. Beautiful island
beautiful. Hua
means great.
great.
So,
Land Taiwan, our
It's our
Taiwan.
Taiwan.
okay.
Yeah.
So, beautiful island, our Taiwan.
Yeah.
Was-
关键
Yeah, the books, the Zahan Guangen, which is really important books, published in 1926, right? 1920, around 1920s.
24.
Yeah, 1920s, yeah. And it's a sentence inside the books, yeah.
All three are actively promoting the use of the Taiwanese language. Like them, the cook and most guests in the cafe are speaking Taiwanese. In Kaohsiung and most of South Taiwan, we hear it all the time, whereas in the north, it is almost completely absent. In Tainan, we meet Professor Chun Yubun of the Department of Taiwanese Literature at the National Cheng Kung University.
Is the so-called Taiwanese language, which was originally came from Hokkien, the Hokkien province in China, and probably in the 17th century. And after the language brought to Taiwan with the immigrant, those Hokkien immigrants, and they brought it to Taiwan, and they have developed in Taiwan for over 300 years.
As we can see on Hebi's t-shirt, the Taiwanese language is written in Latin alphabet using a system called Beiwezi.
Beiwezi is a Taiwanese is a Taiwanese writing system, and it
First writing system.
first writing system, and you can 100% to write Taiwanese, written Taiwanese. So Beiwezi is the Taiwanese first newspaper. It
in Taiwan.
in Taiwan is written on Beiwezi. It's a Chua Beihui is a really is a famous leader. Like in 1920s, they call the Taiwanese Culture Association. It's a really famous association in that period. And Chua Beihui is one of the leaders, and he pushed this like Taiwanese should write Taiwanese language. He pushed this issue and especially used Beiwezi.
In Taichung, we meet Michael Campbell, the rare case of a foreigner who achieved fluency in the language. He is a polyglot who created a language app called Glossica, one of the very few to include the Taiwanese language.
Glossica has developed a language learning app. It has two parts. One is a forward-facing one for the learners. One is a content creation site. Now, Hokkien may have fewer and fewer speakers these days. So the idea that the language may someday go extinct is of concern. The loss of language, the homogenization and inclusion of minorities into majority languages means the eventual loss of these cultural heritages, not to mention all the oral history and knowledge encoded in the languages.
During our conversation with Michael, we referred to the language as Taiwanese, Hokkien, or Southern Min for ease of conversation. But how should we call this language? Professor Chun explains.
The people in Taiwan, we prefer to call it Taiwanese, Taigi, rather than Hokkien. So right now, the language, the so-called Taiwanese language, which is quite different from the Hokkien language in Hokkien. And normally, probably we can understand about maybe 50% or 60%. And a lot of terms, especially just I mentioned, like 问讲, it means driver. The people in Hokkien, they can understand because those terms was originally came from Japanese.
Two South Taiwanese expatriates bonded over their use of the language. Jenny is from Kaohsiung and lives in Scotland. Jessica is from Tainan and lives in France.
We're all from the south, from Kaohsiung and Tainan, and we all speak Taiwanese. And it's more comfortable for us to speak Taiwanese, rather than Mandarins. And and basically we just become good friends since then.
When I speak in Taiwanese, I feel that the strong connection with the Taiwan, and that's the moment that I feel I'm a Taiwanese.
Jessica recalls how the language was suppressed in the past when she was a kid in the mid-80s.
Somehow there was a big issue that when I was 9 years old in the elementary school, the teacher not allow us to speak Taiwanese. So no matter a small word or just by accident you speak that, and then the other kids, they can report you that teacher, she speaks Taiwanese, and then we have a punishment. Sometimes can be $5 in Taiwan dollars, or they will put you a pig nose. You have to carry the pig nose for whole day.
Taiwanese was unfairly called an uneducated language and suppressed as part of the signification of the island. But the language survived better in the south, as Professor Chung explains.
Where is the capital after KMT came to Taiwan? Taipei. And Chiang Kai-shek, he lived in Taipei. All the officers and all the important government organizations, institutions are all located in Taipei. So they have to promote the national language much more severe compared to the central and the south areas. And the second reason is, Tainan, especially in the south, Tainan is the former capital, the earliest capital in Taiwan. For Taiwanese people, we usually make a joke. We say, "Oh, Taipei is just city like Chinatown in other countries, just like a Chinatown."
This makes the Taiwanese language doubly meaningful. First, as a symbol of South Taiwanese identity, and second, as a symbol against a dictatorship imported from China. Jenny first understood its importance when confronted with Chinese nationalism.
Up to my elder son when he was 2 or 3, and one day when I went to the nursery to pick him up, 2 Chinese women used all kinds of harsh languages that you can imagine to a 3 years old boy. Something like, you're Chinese, you're not Taiwanese, and if you're Taiwanese, and why you can't speak Taiwanese, and why your mom or your other Taiwanese also speak Mandarins and not using Taiwanese, the kinds of negative languages to my little boy. And I witnessed that. And I realized that, okay, I would have to talk to my kids in Taiwanese and start to educate them.
But today, even in the South, the Taiwanese language is mostly spoken by the elderly. Others mostly use it to speak with their older relatives. So what is everyone doing to save the language? Michael believes technology will help.
In Mandarin, you have something called Chengyu, and you have something similar in Taiwanese. In fact, there are large volumes of books published with collections of these sayings and proverbs. And when you get into learning them, and you actually put effort into studying these proverbs, and it's like the background and the historical legacy of the language, you find a lot of cultural knowledge encoded in there. So I believe that the technology and AI will play a very good role in being able to allow people, no matter what size their language is. So including the language on the app, ultimately by building this platform, we see ourselves as empowering people from anywhere to take action in preservation and revitalization projects.
Our Kaohsiung trio brings the language to the public sphere via t-shirts and other pop cultural artifacts.
That's what we are trying to do. We make Taiwanese let young people feel fun just hide inside in their daily life, and just like you see the teacher, they can see Taiwanese everywhere. That's what we are trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, like April, she's like Dagi Niao. I don't know if you know Dagi Niao's designer. Yeah, the one Dagi brand. So yeah, they try to use like some like a t-shirt, like a bag, like everything. Like
April is an artist and developed a brand around the Taiwanese language.
We try to do products like T-shirts and postcards and also line stickers, and so that general public can accept this language more.
Jenny and Jessica went as far as creating a picture book to bring children to the language.
So what we have done, because we both had that bad experience when we were small. Language started young, when we were like a little. We started to think, okay, the most important thing is how to let our next generations to remember this language. And the most important thing is to attract their attention. And how to attract their attention? Perhaps picture books is the best way. We started to write stories in English and Taiwanese, and make it as storybooks. We have done 3 books so far, and the good news is they all sold out very quickly. Before we started, we thought not many people care about this language. After we have done that picture books, we realized that in fact it's not just us caring about this language. There's still many young generations, Taiwanese parents, they also share the same feelings.
Rather than being pessimistic about the future of the language, Jenny and Jessica decided to focus on the younger generation. The importance of younger speakers in the survival of the language is also emphasized by Michael Campbell.
When we look at numbers of speakers, it's not a good indication of whether a language will survive over time, because all languages only had 100 or 1,000 speakers throughout history. So when I read a journalist saying something that, oh, this language only has 300 speakers, and I'm thinking, well, it probably only had 300 speakers for the last 7,000 years. It doesn't really change anything. That does not necessarily mean it's endangered. What really means a language is endangered is whether the 15-year-olds, male and female, are actually using that language to talk to themselves, to each other.
Back in the cafe in Kaohsiung, Ten Titiang laments the lack of political ambition for the Taiwanese language.
Taiwanese issue is not the spotlight, and it's not their priority. They are not put the order really first. So when probably in the beginning they need the voter, they need the people vote for them. So they will talk about this issue and they care about this issue. But after a few years, actually they are not talk of it anymore because probably some of the issue more important, and the spotlight is on that, not the Taiwanese languages.
The Taiwanese language is a unique cultural marker of South Taiwan. Thanks to those keeping it alive, it is more than an academic topic or a relic of past generations. It is a fun and living thing that is tightly woven in the social fabric of South Taiwan.